and good afternoon, and welcome to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show, and your host, Catherine Tyson. Today is Tuesday. It is Hot Topics Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I tell you, it every day, I think, is just a Hot Topics day when you are on an island and so much is happening, and you're just happy, you're blessed, and just things just keep swirling around you. So today we're going to talk about some hot topics for sure. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. I know you're on your way home or whatever it is, but just wishing you, just a great evening. When you get there, just drive safely, take care of yourself. My goodness, and don't get caught up in the whole road rage thing, because a lot of that is happening. I mean, there has been so many accidents and so many, people just kind of like flying past you. Just wait a second. You'll get there. You'll get there. Okay. So time is too slow for those who wait, too swift for those who fear, too long for those who grieve, too short for those who rejoice. But for those who love, time is eternity. My wealth is not determined and not measured in how much time I have to do what I want, rather, how much meaning I am able to derive from the time that I have. That is so true, right? It's not just about, the time that you have to do what you want, but how much meaning you're going to get from that. Because you can really spend a lot of time doing stuff that you're just not happy with. So, just put the meaning into that time for sure. Couple of announcements this afternoon. The Young Writers Competition, I talked about that a little bit last week. So just calling all young writers between the ages of 12 and 17. You're invited to write your own story and win up to $1,000 and free creative writing lessons. The submission deadline is June the 30th, so you have about 8 days for that. If you're interested, you're between the ages of 12 and 17, and you are a creative writer, or you're interested in writing somehow, you like to write your diary or whatever it is. Yeah. For more information, email kmanyoungwriters@gmail.com. Okay. There you go. That should be really nice. So get involved with that for sure. All right. Midsummer Music Concert, because the National Trust Speaker Series, that's gone. So I was going to read that to you, but that's gone. You missed it. Sorry. Those of you who went to it, enjoyed that. Good for you. Midsummer Music Concert, that is on the 25th of June. That is the Cayman National Choir and Orchestra invites you to its Midsummer Music Concert at the Cayman International School Auditorium. That's beginning at 7:30, and that's on the 25th of June, what is that? That must be Friday night, yeah? Midsummer Music Concert. And that's going to be at the Cayman International School Auditorium. Enjoy a potpourri program of colorful music from around the globe and from through the generations. A kaleidoscope of musical variety includes modern, classical, and music of the stage to classical pop, big band jazz, and even danzón of Venezuela. Tickets are $10 for children and $30 for adults, and can be purchased online from Eventpro or from CNCO members. Okay, so that is the Cayman National Choir and Orchestra members are selling it, or eventpro.ky. That is on 25th of June, and that will be Midsummer Music Concert. It sounds nice. Sounds really nice, like an evening of beautiful music. Free Olympic Day 5K on the 26th of June. I can tell my friend about that. She loves to walk and run. She wants to do that. She's always telling me to do it, but she can get involved. All right. You know who you are. Won't be calling no names, but Free Olympic Day 5K on the 26th of June. Come on out and participate in the 2021 Olympic Day 5K on Saturday, the 26th of June, beginning at 7 a.m. No, I will be sleeping, just letting you know. Everyone is welcome. The start and finish is the boxing gym by the Truman Bodden Sports Complex, Georgetown. So it's very easy. It's easily accessible. Prizes include gift certificates and CIOC gear. Register now at www.kmanyoungwriters.com. caymanactive.com/registration/Olympic. I'll repeat that if you're listening and you're interested. caymanactive.com/registration/Olympic. If you can't come out and represent your country. Okay, so remember that also, that you can go out and represent your country and you don't have to register online. All right, if you have any community events, you can send them to wendy@caymaniantimes.ky. I usually try to read the Caymanian Times community events. Love that. Keeps us keeping on with stuff. Okay, there's a Seafaring Heritage Seafarers Way ceremony and reception. You are invited to a celebration for the official renaming of sections of the downtown Georgetown waterfront as Seafarers Way in honor of and to recognize the outstanding contributions contributions made by our seafarers. That's going to be Friday, June the 25th at 10 o'clock, between 10 and 11:30. It's at the North Terminal, Georgetown. So come on out and help to celebrate the renaming of the sections of downtown Georgetown waterfront. And it's going to be named Seafarers Way. And it's in honor of and recognizing the outstanding contributions made by our seafarers. Okay, so Friday the 25th of June, 10 to 11:30. So if you happen to see a lot of traffic around the way, that is what is happening. Okay. All right. As you can see, there's been lots of sargassum in the seas. So from Cayman to Cancun and affecting beaches in the Eastern and Western Caribbean, all the way to Sargasso Sea in the vicinity of Bermuda, hence the name. Sargassum seaweed is a nightmare for the tourism dependent countries on whose shore it despoils, and it's happening again. Acres of the floating brown mass of matted seaweed are once again drifting on the waves, carried by currents and plaguing beaches across the region. Scientists are attributing the origins of pelagic sargassum in part of the warming of the ocean caused by climate change and man-made causes. Factors include the discharge of macronutrients from agricultural runoff and wastewater via major river basins such as the Congo and Amazon rivers, and the deposition of iron and nutrient-rich Saharan dust on the ocean. Experts monitoring the movement of sargassum in the region report that in recent years, the size of the floating mass had grown into the largest ever recorded, measuring over 5,500 miles, extending from the central Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea to West Africa and the Gulf of Mexico. It is predicted that 2021 could be a particularly challenging year, as if, things weren't challenging enough. Satellite monitoring reports from NASA and the University of South Florida indicate that the floating sargassum bloom has shown accelerated growth since December. Meanwhile, the suspected causes of this sargassum surge, including deforestation and increased fertilizer use in the Amazon region, along with the climate change, are running rampant, right? So that is the suspected cause is the macronutrients from agricultural runoff and wastewater. So we have to be very, very careful out there. I tell you that, right? So sargassum, we've been seeing it. I've been seeing photos of it on Facebook. They've been beautiful, but up close, not so much, right? Yeah, so there, just to let us know, it's not happening here. It's all over. It's all around the region at this point, coming down. All right, Boys to Men join Lions in East End renovation project. 24 young men on the Boys to Men program worked all day at the Sunrise Seniors Home on a Saturday in May. It was hard work, but it was fun. And even more fun because they were side by side with members of the Lions Club who are overseeing the project. And Lions like to get things done. As you know, Boys to Men was started by school counselor Christopher Murray to help teenage boys at John Gray High School transition into adulthood by teaching them how to respect themselves and respect others too. The seniors' home is undergoing a complete refurbishment financed by the Lions, And during the week, some prisoners from Northwood have also been helping during the week by scraping the paint off the walls and repair some of the cracks which had appeared in the walls of the building. When the project is finished, hopefully around the end of June, the house will transition in use from a residential center to a daycare center and also be a place where school kids can come and meet with the older folks of East End. I think that's going to be really great because it's always good to get different generations talking to each other, so that things can be passed along and we can honor our young people and honor our elderly people as well and respect them for what they have brought to us and ensure that their legacy is maintained and it is continued. That is so important. I was having a discussion the other day with a couple of young people, and a young lady said she knows how to make peppermint, she knows how to make coconut drops, she knows how to make coconut oil, and she was talking about, being unemployed and trying to find some work. And I said, you just mentioned, an opportunity. That's what I'm hearing. If you know how to make coconut oil, you know how to make coconut drops, you know how to make peppermint. A lot of people don't know how to make that. So why not, try to kind of capitalize on that, right? And monetize that, because a lot of people would be interested in those things freshly made. So she thought, oh, I hadn't thought about that. My grandmother taught me all this stuff. I grew up in the Brack, and my grandmother taught me all that stuff. I said, listen, your grandmother has given you a wealth of information that you can actually, use. When we call people entrepreneurs, that's actually what they're doing. So yeah, so there's that, right? So definitely, I think being able to meet, I think young people being able to meet with older people and just talking about the past and passing on knowledge and passing on information, even information about our own culture and different things. I think it's a great opportunity. So yeah, kudos to the Boys to Men program that is working very, very closely together to ensure that these young people are being groomed, to be respectful, to be productive citizens. And in some cases, this is their opportunity to have mentors that they can actually, aspire for certain things in their life because of being kind of, coupled up with men that are productive and looking to impart some knowledge and, just values and a foundation for these young men. So that's really great. It is really good. Anthony Rich said, we're partnering with the Boys to Men today. A couple of months ago, the Department of Children and Family Services asked us to assist with the repurposing of this building in the East End area, and we are working with the inmates from Northwood during the week. When we were delighted when we got the opportunity and the call from Boys to Men, who said they were looking for a project as well. So we're happy to be with them here today. They're prepping the walls inside and also painting the storage shed outside. 8 Lions, 24 young men. They were helping to refurbish the home for the elderly in East End and giving back to your community. There's just nothing compared to that feeling of being a part of a community and contributing to the betterment of something, especially for our elderly people that will benefit from that. So thank you all for that, for sure. And obviously, if you're driving along, you're listening, and you feel like these are some programs that you'd want to to be involved with, then just reach out to the Lions, Boys to Men, and even DCFS and see if you can get hooked up with those. All right, so another thing I was reading, which was very interesting, I'm going to tell you this here. So I was reading this over the weekend, and this is new population figures move reopening goalposts. So it's quite interesting because I kept saying to myself for a long time, what is the population that came out? They kept saying the amount for a while. But then I'm thinking it doesn't sound right. So now it seems as if the population that we thought that we had was actually not correct. And so that would make a very big difference. So apparently the goal for herd immunity in terms of the vaccine is said to be like 56,000 of the population vaccinated. However, if our population is more than anticipated, then that might be very, very different. So our population was pegged at 65,000, but now it seems that the revised conclusion it's about 71,000. So that would actually take us to a different number. So it's quite interesting, to see the difference here in terms of our population figures. So yeah, for those of you who were interested in terms of the talks of herd immunity, that has also changed. Uh, but because the plans and the numbers, because the numbers were off, the plans that were in progress are now, being shifted a little bit. So COVID protocols from 23rd of June, mandatory quarantine dropped to 5 days of verifiably vaccinated incoming travelers. 72-hour pre-arrival PCR testing is reinstated. This is from 23rd of June. That's tomorrow. The 72-hour pre-arrival PCR testing is reinstated. Removal of PCR testing on arrival, that'll be gone, so you'll have to do it before you come. All travelers must be tested before exiting quarantine. Non-vaccinated travelers must complete the 14-day quarantine. Mandatory weekly PCR testing of non-vaccinated frontline workers is going to be put in place. Again, residents to pay for their own stay following non-essential travel. Those are things that will be changing, just to let you know. Definitely some different things coming up if you're interested in that. And obviously you can find a lot of these things when you can pick up newspaper, go to Cayman News Service, Caymanian Times. There's just different opportunities to see what's going on and what's happening in in our island or on our island. One of the comments that I read, I thought I wanted to share. If the islands threw the doors open fully right now, today, summer and fall bookings are already lost. It would be 12 months before experiencing any economic benefit. What scientific or medical reason is there for any restriction whatsoever on vaccinated travelers in and from the region of the world at this point? So, lots of people feel very different. It's time for Cayman to open the borders. Some people say no, keep the borders closed. We want to stay safe. And if you can't catch COVID after being vaccinated, then what's the push for the vaccination? If the vaccination is not going to stop you from being quarantined for a certain amount of time, and so the reports have been that if you are vaccinated, that you'd be in quarantine for 5 days as opposed to 14 days. So there's a whole lot of thoughts going on in terms of that, right? So interesting. Now, the food prices are set to surge as COVID impact hits home. Now, I can't even imagine this because the food prices have surged. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I noticed. And so apparently it's going to be increasing even more. So there's been a 50% increase in price of some products since late last year. And I literally started noticing that. Like every item that I pick up is like 10, 20, 30, 40 cents different. And so that is a significant difference, right? You're able to buy a lot less with the same amount of money. So I just read that in the Compass. Cayman Islands residents are facing a summer of significant price increases in supermarkets and restaurants as the impact of COVID-19 and the restriction on movement hit home. Labor shortages and shipping delays are among the global factors driving up the cost of living. And the situation is only likely to get worse as the international supply chain struggles to meet surging demand from communities across the globe that are shaking off the shackles of lockdown and getting back to business. At supermarkets across the Cayman Islands, grocery prices have been going up since late last year. Julian Foster, marketing manager at Foster's, said this would likely continue through the end of this year. He said some products had gone up by as much as 50%. Meat prices from the supermarket suppliers have increased by 10% since May last year. Dairy products have gone up 28%, and cereal prices have increased by a third. Apples and oranges, sugar, and canned fruit and vegetables have also seen significant increases. Foster says the supermarket is working to insulate its customers from the impact by looking for efficiency savings elsewhere, but he warned retail price increases are inevitable. A variety of factors ranging from labor shortages in farms, factories, and the trucking industry to a shortage of shipping containers and raw materials for packaging is contributing to the global price surge. With many countries reopening borders and easing a restriction, there's a huge demand on markets to deliver products that they simply can't keep up with. Beef and chicken wings are a luxury. It's a similar story across Cayman, with restaurants reporting significant increases in the cost of food. A labor shortage at U.S. chicken farms, attributed in part to the loss of seasonal immigrant workers, has led to nearly 100% increase in the price of a classic bar menu staple, chicken wings. That's not the only product that has been impacted. Fluctuations in price. So I tell you, it is really something. So it has not been your imagination, and further increases are in the pipeline. I would guess it might be good that we start looking locally, but also when people are shopping locally, they're seeing that local prices are a little higher as well. So, but if you're comparing it to purchasing, things that are being shipped in versus local, and it's basically the same price, it might be better to shop local, just because you kind of know the soil it's come from, and to support your local, farmers, and your local suppliers. Right? Inflation is a global problem. So the picture of rising food prices is reflected not only here, obviously, it's across the whole world. And so our communities we rely heavily on imports, and we're likely to be more severely impacted. The root cause of many of the issues is linked to the inability of manufacturers to resume operations post COVID at a pace that can keep up with demand. So, yeah. So that is some of the things that we're looking at. I mean, mango season is around, so I've noticed that there have been less mangoes this year as well, though. So I have one, two, three, four trees in my yard, and I think like two trees have not given me anything this year, and the two that are bearing, it's almost half the amount of last year. So, yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like the entire world, nature, everybody knows that something's going on, and so the earth is just producing differently as well. So we're going to have to really be a little bit more prudent, and probably share a little bit more, like how we used to do that. We used to share, and not be as I guess gravelicious, what they would say, like don't go in and pick up like 10 packs of chicken in the store. Like get two, leave some for somebody else, and not just try to stock up so that your house is okay, but just realize that everybody else is also needing to get something as well, right? So those are some of the things I think that we're going to need to be mindful of, and we need to be thinking about about our fellow man in these instances, and go back to the days when we were able to just be neighborly, and look out for one another. What do you think about that? I don't think so. I think that's not a bad idea. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there's just been so much going on that has just pointed towards us really being more community oriented, and how we're going to get through this whole this whole, I guess, the pandemic, but also this crisis that we're in, um, as a people, because we're all dealing with that. So figuring out how we can just become closer, I guess, and not focus so much on materialism, or what our dollar can buy, and spend, but how do we become a little bit more resourceful during this time? Yep. Well, that has been the first half hour of the show. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break now, but you stay tuned. We'll be back with more right after these messages. And welcome back to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show. Catherine Tyson, your host. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon and for tuning in. Yeah, it is Tuesday. It's Hot Topics Tuesday, talking a little bit about some of the things that I saw in the paper and just some things that are going on. I want to shift gears just a little bit next half hour of the show and just talk a little bit about employment and just some information in terms of employment and our current situation and how we may have to be a little bit creative because so many things have changed in terms of our situations and employment. Like I was saying, the first half hour, I was talking about a young person that was talking to me about knowing how to make, coconut candy or coconut drops and peppermint and coconut oil and stuff like that. And just looking at maybe an opportunity to, for entrepreneurship, but to have like a skill and to know how to do certain things. So maybe there's some thinking about a little bit in terms of our survival, our beyond today, like what's happening, what's going to sustain us a little bit, because there's been lots of job loss and there's been lots of, just shifting. I think that's the word, right? Lots of shifting, even though you might not even be ready for it, but it's happened. It's like shifting by default. So how are you going to survive through it? So I started looking at some things in terms of Caymanians and Caymanians in the fields, and obviously talking a lot about, especially with the new government taking over in May, saying that, they're going to be looking for local people more than work permit holders if they can. So we want to place the local people first. And obviously local people need to be equipped first before we kind of say, all right, here's your job. Are you ready for the job? Are you equipped for the job? Can you do the job? And will you do the job? Right? So there's a can you do it and will you do it? That are two totally different questions. There are some people who would do it if they could, but they might not be able to do it because they can't. So what is impeding you from that? And there's lots of courses. So during this time that you're not, maybe you're underemployed or you're not employed, maybe those opportunities to go online and register for a course and kind of get upskilled during this time so that, you are putting yourself in a better position, right? All right. Couple of observations. Little to no Caymanians in these fields. Okay. Beauty salons, beauty salon owners. When you walk into the beauty salons and you're looking, generally, think about how many beauty salons we have on island, how many people that are doing nails, how many people that are doing massages and facials and beauty therapists all around. There are not a whole lot of Caymanians in that field. Like, just think about it. I'm not. What that show in the 80s said, I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard it from me. But yeah, I'm not trying to gossip, but it is true. Like, I can think right now of, 2 or 3 different salons that I go to or have gone to for something. And the people that served me were not Caymanians. I cannot remember the last time I got served by an actual Caymanian to do my nails, to do my hair. And that's regular hair, not just even braiding, but just like regular blow dry, wash, blow dry, to do a massage, to do a facial. Think about it. Got it, ladies, gentlemen. If you are interested in that, met a young girl the other day. She is a yoga instructor. She got her qualifications online. Did you know that? Did you know that you could get a yoga instructor qualification online? I didn't know, but apparently you can. So online and maybe through Zoom, I don't know. But beauty salon owners, massage and beauty therapists, nail technicians, little to no Caymanians in these fields. Ladies, these fields take what, 3, 6, 8 months? Not very long, So think about it. Also, when's the last time you went into a barber shop that was owned or you were served by a Caymanian? I bet you not a lot. That's another thing. Young men, why are we not looking at being a barber? Do you know how much money are in these fields? in the beauty salon fields, the beauty therapist fields, the nail technician. Do you know how much money can be made in these fields? Like, come on, like seriously, there's not a lot of Caymanians in these fields. So that's what I'm talking about this next 20 minutes that I'm talking to you. So I'm sorry if you don't like that, but I'm just going to tell you these are very viable opportunities for our young people, and it's just not a whole lot of schooling that it takes. It's not a whole lot of money that it takes to be trained in these areas, but it's lots of job security because women are always trying to look good and men always want to be hooked up. Okay, so think about it. Another thing somebody mentioned to me the other day, and they were a non-Caymanian, and they said, "Where can I go to get uh, just a Caymanian meal?" It was a crazy question, but I was like flabbergasted because it was the truth. They said, "So where could we go get something that you guys eat?" And I was like, "Well," I started to mention some places. They said, "But those aren't Caymanian people that cook." And you know what? They're absolutely right. Now, the food might be good. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm not saying that I don't go there. I'm not saying that I don't buy my share of the food. But where are the Caymanian restaurant owners? Where are the Caymanian people that are cooking? Yes, I know there's a couple of them here and there, and you can name them on your one and owning restaurants that you can get a fish rundown, a proper conch dinner from a Caymanian hand, turtle meat, turtle stew, or maybe even I saw someplace has stewed wilks. I was like, whoa! I need to go get me some of that because that's definitely Caymanian to me, anyway. But even sometimes when they say lobster, like Cayman style lobster, and they give it to you, it's not Cayman style. Like, I don't know if anybody recognizes that as well. But yes, where are our restaurant owners? So, Caymanian people, I am here ringing the bell. Okay, all you peppermint makers too. Okay, we were talking about um, cassava cakes and Johnny cakes and coconut bread and what's the other thing too? My grandmother used to make pumpkin cake, yam cake, potato cake, you name it. She would make all of those. They all look the same to me. But and she used to have some in like a square pan and some in a round pan. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but probably not. But yeah, like, oh, come on. All right. So let's start thinking. Let's start being creative. And obviously, let's start also, advocating for ourselves with the government that they're not making it so difficult to have your own thing, to be able to open these restaurants or whatever it is, because people do need to know, yeah, I can go here and get me a proper rundown. Now, that said, I want to know where I can go get a proper rundown because I'm interested. Okay. So that's it. That's another thing. Another thing I looked at, what about dentists? How many dentists are local? How many Caymanian dentists do we have? If you guys know, please let me know. All right. But what I'm saying is these are fields that are wide open for Caymanians. What about medical assistants? What about dental assistants? What about an acupuncturist? Chiropractors. We have a few doctors, general practitioners, very happy about that. But these are all areas that we don't have Caymanians in. And we now have, what, 3 hospitals, right? We have all of the state of the art stuff coming online. Well, that means there's a spot for you. I saw a young doctor at Dr. Tomlinson's clinic the other day. I was so happy to see him, and Dr. Tomlinson had him with him, and I'm just very happy about a young doctor coming up and just going to be a part of our community as well. And for all of the others, congratulations to all of you. I'm very, very happy and proud of you. But just think about it. These are some things that we need to be really looking at to see, okay, here are some fields that are open and available for us, right? Okay, couple of other careers that do not take a whole long time to get prepared for. Air traffic controller. All right. Did you know that an air traffic controller pays about $100,000 a year? In some cases, you could pay up to 120 something thousand dollars starting out a year. Okay, so air traffic controller. I'm just going to put a little bird in your ear this afternoon. All right. Radiation therapist. Thought about that? A radiation therapist. These are professions that you can get from trade schools. They don't necessarily have to be, a 4-year college or a degree. Some of these, I'll look more and see what some of the needs are, so I can tell you that as well. An elevator mechanic. Elevator mechanic. That is a this is like a golden commodity. Apparently, if you're an elevator mechanic, you will never need for work because there's not a whole lot of them in the world. I didn't know that either. The a dental hygienist, and that's another area. Do we have a lot of Caymanians that do that? Maybe I think we have a couple, but right. All right. Web developer, diagnostic medical sonographer. That is someone who is doing sonograms and ultrasounds and stuff. Work, in the like the X-ray departments, MRI departments. All right. So that's diagnostic medical sonographers. Also a very good field to go into. Aircraft mechanic and avionics technician, respiratory therapist, court reporters, occupational therapy assistant. This is an assistant. Here's another one, a funeral service worker. Funeral service worker. You can get this qualifications in this in probably about 2 years or so. Funeral service worker, and it's a job that will never go out of style. It will always, you'll always be in demand for sure, in any community. Electrician, of course, we know that. Food service manager, plumbers, absolutely. Plumbers, a very good field. Now, if these are some of the fields that you ever thought about, you think maybe you might like, you might be able to look for people on the island that do that and say, become their apprentice or something to learn, right? HVAC was the HVAC or HVACR technician. That's AC, HVAC technician. Of course, nurses, we know that. Cardiovascular technicians. All right, so let's see. Some jobs for trade school graduates. So a high school graduate's trade school might be a little bit more interesting or of interest. It might offer a more affordable and secure path to career entry and professional development than maybe your traditional 4-year university. So if you're not interested in a 4-year university, some people are, some people aren't. There are still some very good vocational programs that you could look into, right? They're also known as technical colleges and vocational schools, trade schools. They focus on specialized job training in high demand fields, enabling students to find gainful employment quickly after graduation. Also, one thing that I hadn't mentioned is construction. There are not a lot of Caymanians in that field. The tiling, construction, building, just overall building from the ground up, roofing, whatever, not a lot of Caymanians in these fields. These are fields that have opportunities for Caymanians to make money. All right, so vocational programs normally range from 8 weeks to 2 years, depending on whether you want to earn a certificate, a diploma, or possibly an associate's degree. And graduates may then go on to sit for licensing exams. They could become apprentices or seek immediate employment, right? And so the vocational programs that normally range from the 8 weeks to 2 years are plumbers, electricians, pharmacy technicians, paralegals. Students can also train to become restaurant cooks and private chefs by enrolling in a culinary arts program or work as auto mechanics, as well as automotive technology and the like. All right, like I mentioned, in elevator installer and repairer, this is something that not a whole lot of people do. And so just imagine on this island, if you were an elevator installer or repairer, you would be in such demand. All right. These are people who assemble, maintain, and fix elevators. Everywhere we go, we have elevators. We don't like the stairs. So that is one area that definitely would be something that you would definitely have a lot of work in, right? So generally, you could work as a with a contractor for that. And if it's something you hadn't thought about, think about it and do some research on it, because it would be something that would be very secure in terms of uh, career growth and stability, right? And it also pays very good money. I think they can make close to $100,000 a year. That's nothing to snuff at, right? Radiation therapist, I mentioned before, works with nurses, physicians, and oncologists. Radiation therapists treat diseases like cancer, and these workers oversee radiation therapy sessions using machine linear accelerators to shrink and destroy the cancerous tumors. And they also monitor patients during treatment for any negative reactions while adhering to strict safety protocols. And that profession could make up to $85,000 a year. Well, that's not bad, right? And this position is projected to grow between 7% between now and 2029, the year 2029. So imagine these professionals are in demand, and they work for private and public or state hospitals, and they also work with doctors' offices and outpatient care centers. And now you can complete this with an associate's degree. You could go on to do a bachelor's degree from schools that are accredited, and then you can, you usually connected to some type of licensure as well after that. But I mean, think about that. Think about all the cases that we have even here for cancer, and people doing chemotherapy and different things. And Health City is now bringing the radiation department, or machinery to the Cayman Islands, and so that's going to be available on island, right? So just think about how important some of these things are. All right, the diagnostic medical sonographer. They assist the physicians and surgeons. They diagnose illnesses, and they prepare patients for operations. And they use imaging machines to produce sonograms and ultrasounds. Sonographers help detect and identify abnormalities in the human body. These professionals may specialize in a specific area in the body, such as the heart, the blood vessels, female reproductive system, or abdominal cavity. And these jobs will grow between 12%. Well, and the average sonographer makes about 70,000 a year, which is good. And they work in outpatient care centers. They work at hospitals, different, doctor's office as well. And generally, they hold a technical certificate from a school accredited by the Allied Health Education programs, and they can go on to earn an associate's in sonography, which prepares them for advanced academic training down the road. So you see, some of these that I'm talking about, they don't even require a whole lot in terms of a long time in school, or if they're in school, like just like a 4-year plan or 5-year plan. If that's something that doesn't interest you, like just think about that, right? So some of these are that. So your sonographer, your elevator technician, your dental hygienist also. And this is something that is very, very, it's such a great profession also, right? Where you get to, learn these things. You can work in any dental office. And I don't know if you know, but dentists make a lot of money. And this is going to grow a lot as well. The median salary of a dental hygienist is about $78,000 a year. And, that's also one that you can, get through maybe with an associate's degree as well. So just think about that. Electricians are also a very, very good profession that we're very, a lot of people are interested in that, and I see like a lot of young men signing up for the vocational stuff. But also, this is something that you can go on to do. You can do this as an apprentice. You can also, do like a 1 year program. You can do an associate's degree. So it's different things. And electricians work for contractors, license. They get licensed. They install. They test power base apparatuses. They can work for, your electric companies. They also analyze blueprints, right, to identify proper placement of circuits. They read blueprints. They know blueprints, and they work very well in terms of wiring and fixing things and other electronic components. So yes, so the electronics is definitely one of the fields that I know a lot of people talk about quite a bit, but these are just some other things too as well. Respiratory therapists, they support patients with breathing difficulties and cardiopulmonary conditions. Medical professionals, they interview patients, they assess them, they assess their lung function, and they conduct other diagnostic tests. So that's very interesting, an interesting field. This is going to grow 19% through to the year of 2029. And so that's going to translate to thousands of new jobs over the years, that's for sure. And a lot of them work in hospitals also. And they usually go to a trade college and they get an associate's degree. And then, they can also get licensed and stuff like that. So as you can see, there are opportunities to start off in these careers with not a whole lot of years of investment, and you can get to work pretty quick. And if you're just coming out of school or you're wanting to change a career, you can probably do these things, part-time, and just keep, going towards, the finalization of it. So as I say, one cocoa fill basket type of thing. So you just take that first year, obviously, and complete that. Plumbers also, plumbers, what they do, you'll typically need 4 to 5 year apprenticeship. So you'll be working with that, but you can be trained in less than 2 years. And then, you get your certificate or your associate's degree, and then continue working with a registered plumber and learning that. And plumbers, they earn up to what, $70,000-$80,000 a year. I think sometimes even more, depending on that. Because I know if you have a plumbing problem, you are definitely going to be calling your plumber. That's one area we're not playing with. And I don't know how much ever he charges, we're going to be paying him. Another thing is HVACR technician. They deal with heating, air conditioning, which we cannot live without on this hot island. I've heard about 4 people say how hot it was today. And they also deal with refrigeration technicians, right? So they also deal with that. They install, they fix systems. And this is, they control the building's air quality and temperature. They perform routine maintenance. If you had your AC tech come over, let me tell you something. By the time he leave, $80, and I know he would have for 3.5 minutes flat. But I'm just so happy I'm back in business with my cooling. I'll give him that $80, $100 if you need it, because it was hot before. So yeah, it's so crucial, right? And essential. And so sometimes I know my AC guy would show me, it's just the filter. The filter is $5, and he'll show me how to do it. So he doesn't have, I don't want to charge you $80 every time I come, Miss Catherine. You just got to change a little thing, right? But just imagine that we're replacing filters or cleaning ducts. So the system satisfies government regulations and, cools us for sure. Commercial refrigeration, solar paneling, radiant heating systems. Look at all the stuff that they do. I think that we have that on island. Some of these we do have on island. Some of these we can look online and see if there's some way that we can start some of the process if we're interested. They make about $55,000 or more per year. And a lot of HVAC professionals complete either a 6-month certificate or a 2-year associate degree program. So you can start with a 6-month certificate, and start working for sure, right? And then get the practical experience and you can apply for licensing. Like just imagine like something that's so simple, but you're saying, oh, I don't have the time for that. But then you sit around and a year passes by. I don't know about you, a year sure passed by, flew by the other day. We didn't even know where it went. It was March of 2019. Yeah, 2020. Where am I going? It was March of 2020. And then I blinked. And then it was March of 2021. It just felt like it just went so crazy. It was just flew by. All right. Yeah, so definitely looking at these different professions, looking at web developer. We know that we're talking about talking to Casey Reed the other day, who was interested in that kind of stuff, who studied that, right? So these IT professionals, they create websites, design overall aesthetic and layout of pages. They also oversee back end technical aspects, things that we don't know how to do. Our 5-year-old nephew might know how to do, but we don't know how to do it because it's so complex. But just imagine, you know, understanding the the site performance and the speed and the traffic capacity, all these things that I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I'm sure you understand, but if someone did that for you, you'd be like, "Thank you. How much does that cost?" Absolutely. And they help make things user friendly, right? And they fix issues. In some cases, I don't know, might not even been plugged in. No, right? Okay. So now this is growing also between now and 2029 is growing 10%. And so it's lots more positions being created. And the average yearly salary for a web developer is about $75,000. Okay. But they can also raise their pay. Listen to this, by working for software publishers and companies that handle proprietary electronic networks. So while some self developers are self taught, most hold an associate degree in web development that covers both computer programming and graphic design. So you see, you have both. And graphic design, if you get that, I mean, you can work anywhere, magazines, newspaper companies, you name it, right? Because those are really, you can, work for marketing companies as well. Very, very great skill to have. And to pursue this specialized position in the area, you'll likely need to have a bachelor's degree at the end of that when you're going into certain directions. But I mean, to put that under your belt, like you can go anywhere and get a job anywhere. Be absolutely, something that you can use that will continue. Medium salary, about $80,000. It's not too bad starting out, and that's literally starting out, right? As well as your IT technician and a legal assistant. Legal assistants are also really good. Legal assistants, generally within 2 years, they can get that. They're the right hand of a lawyer. So if you were ever interested in being a lawyer, or you thought you could be, a legal assistant is a good place to start. That is something you definitely can look up online and see how you're able to get into that. And it's one of those, like, it's support lawyers. You do the administrative task, you put together the files, you create the documents, official documents, you create contracts, you learn about contracts, facilitate communication, you deal with witnesses, law enforcement, external vendors, and trial preparation, and conducting research and personal histories, relevant regulations. So by the time you're done, you really have a lot of information and you're able to assist in that way. And that can be a segue for you going further in the legal profession as well, and make a good salary for not a whole lot of time invested. So 2 years, you invest in that time, and you're able to have yourself a nice career. So these are just some areas that I would think that we could just give some thought to, right? We could give some thought to, and think about what our what our community is looking like right now, right? What our country is looking like right now. What are some of the needs that we have, and where are some of the needs that we can fill in, right? And if we are looking for job security, we're looking to change, grow and move, then why not? Why not, try to, position ourselves for that, right? Instead of just kind of sitting around and watching everybody else kind of progress and talk about how we're not doing this and we're not doing that. Like, no, like just let's take the focus, like put the focus back on yourself, and then there you go. Yeah. So I think that's some of the stuff that we need to be doing. All right. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. This is your Straight Talk Show. And this is Catherine Tyson, your host. We will talk again tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.